Money. It affects our everyday life. But how do we make more of it? Manage it. And make sure we make the most of our money. Welcome to Money Mindful, a podcast to teach and support you as you learn to manage your money.
Hello, beautiful human, and welcome to another episode of the Money Mindful podcast. I am your host, Megan Jean Smith, a money mindset and life coach for women. Women work with me to up-level their money mindset, let go of their money blocks, and create the money and life that they want and deserve. So today, I want to talk to you about a topic that is really important to me. As you know, if you've been around on the podcast for a while, you know that I bang on about coaching all the time and the value of it. And of course, I'm a coach as well. So I'm very excited to let you know about how you can get coaching for free and how you can coach with me for free and other coaches from all over the world. Yes, free. And how you can use it to get the results you want in your life and benefits of coaching beyond changing your money mindset. I've actually had quite a few of you reach out to me via email and in my social media asking me, like, why would I have a coach? What's the benefit of having a coach? How's that going to help me? How has it helped you? People are curious about why I have a coach. Like, how does it help me in my business and in my life? And so today's episode is to address all those questions and also to introduce you to an amazing place where you can access coaching for free, which is, in my opinion, really amazing. And I want you to know about it. So today I have my friend, colleague, and founder of the Life Coach University, Dien Luu, on to talk all things coaching. Dien, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. I am super excited to be here with you, and what an honor. Thank you so much for inviting me and giving me this space. It's just great to hang out with you.
So good. Okay. So Dien is the founder of the Life Coach University. I'm going to get her to tell us a little bit about it, but I thought I'd also mention that we work together. So I work in the Life Coach University as well. I'm one of the coach instructors there that help the new coaches who come in. And then I also am a regular contributor to the Life Coach University. And you've probably been invited, or you might have even come to one of my coaching events or workshops. So Dien, why don't we take it back a little bit and start with a little bit about you? You want to introduce yourself? Tell us all the amazing things.
Tell you all the things about me. This is so much fun. So I am Dien, and I am Canadian. I live in England at the moment with my family. And basically, I am a life coach who works from home 3 days a week, and then I have 4 days off. And when I say off, I mean I am off the grid. I have no electricity for 4 days. I sit by a campfire, and my son and I are at a circus yard. So that's my life. And so for the 3 days where I am a life coach working in my office at Life Coach University, I am really asking myself, how can I make the biggest impact with this time that I have right now? And I love that question. And I sit with that question every morning when I go, what am I going to do today? And I look at what are my power moves. So I always have like a list of things I want to do, especially in those 3 days of my working days. But I always list it as what's going to be the one thing that I do today that makes the biggest impact. And this is my power move of the day. And if there's anything that that always guides me in my day to make decisions is like, am I taking that one power move that I should be making or that I wanted to make today? Am I committed to that? Like when I make this decision, does it align with my one power move of the day? And so Life Coach University came about when I got a phone call. And so I want to tell this story because it's so important about how a phone call, a conversation, someone that you meet can really just change your life, can make the biggest impact and change the world and lives for so many other people. So this phone call was from the British film editors. One of the governors had called, and this was at the start of the pandemic. And she said, "We've got lots of editors and they're really stressed out. Someone gave us your number and they said that you might be the person to help us. Can we bring you on? Can you talk about what life coaching is? And then if our editors want, they can get a one-to-one with you." And I was like, wow, thank you so much. Like, one, thank you for caring about your editors this much that you've reached out. And thank you for offering this opportunity. And I think a lot of life coaches, if they received this phone call, they would just be like, wow, what an opportunity, what an honor. Thank you. Unfortunately, I just don't have time in my schedule. And at that time, I was working every day, all day, and I was fully booked. I could not take on another client. I was coaching one-on-ones. I was doing large groups. I was doing training. I was leading. My groups were like of 80 to 100 people. I just could not take on another one-to-one client. And I said, but I don't want to leave you and your editors stressed, because if you are stressed, then you're editing, and what you create and edit goes out into this world from a stressed mind. And we can't have that because we know who watches. We know who watches your content. My child. The next generation is watching what you're editing. And I said, so why don't I show up and I'll group coach you? I'll just coach you all and it'll be for free. Because she had mentioned that they are a members by members only, and they just didn't have the funding set aside. And I really get that sometimes money is just not available. And so I said, I'll show up. I will show you and teach all your editors the tools, real fundamental, powerful tools that you can use to coach yourself anytime, any day, anywhere. And they will make a big impact on how you feel, how you think, and then what you end up actually doing in your life. And she goes, well, what do we do? Like, how is this going to work? And I said, I'll show up. I'll give what I can in that hour. And all I ask is that you all pay it forward. And you can pay it forward in kindness. You can pay it forward if there's a concept or a tool that really worked for you and resonated for you. Go and share it with somebody. Pay it forward in any way that whatever way it feels fit for you. And she said, this is brilliant. Okay. So she put it out there to her editors. They all showed up. And the coaching hour was really powerful. And I was like, all right, great. See you all. Have a great time editing. I really am standing for all your greatness and standing for you all. And then a few weeks later, I started to get all these emails, Megan, and it was so amazing. And it was this one email that shifted, that changed. Because when I read this email, I started crying. And I knew then that this was what I was meant to do. So yes, I'm a life coach, but I was meant to really offer life coaching to the world. And I knew that I couldn't do that by myself. And this email was how one of the people who had attended, she also worked at a cafe. And the next day, a gentleman came in who relies on the kindness of people giving him change. And he said that with the pandemic, no one was giving him money on the streets. People didn't have change. People were afraid. People weren't even out there. And he asked if he could have a cup of coffee. And she gave him a cup of coffee. And I think she gave him a sandwich and soup, and started taking an interest in his life. and just listened. And he said, hey, I'm just struggling. Like my boots are always wet now. I don't have a waterproof bag. My everything, all my contents, everything in my bag is wet. And she said, come back. Let me just ask some friends of mine. Maybe, they've got boots your size. And I'll try and find a bag. Come back in a few days. And she was doing this out of, she said, I don't know why I was doing this, but I just felt really good. And that day after work, she walked by a charity shop and went in, and inside was a pair of men's boots, his size. And right beside it was a waterproof bag, a waterproof backpack. And she picked it up, left it at the counter for him at the cafe. And a couple of days later, he came back and he was like, why? Why did you do this? And her answer, she goes, I think that was my pay it forward. Because some life coach did a session and said, hey, pay it forward in any way. I said, I think that was my pay it forward. And he's like, what? Tell me more about this. And she said, yeah, this life coach, she comes on, she's like teaching me about the future self. She's saying about the yes, no checks. She's talking about power moves. And he's like, tell me more. So now she's sharing all these life coaching concepts with him. And he then, as it turns out, starts to share it with people on the streets. And he's telling them about their future self. And he's telling them about the yes, no checks. And when I received this email, and by then I was like crying, I was like, okay, I have to start doing more pay it forwards. And I started to just rave about it and share it with so many of my other life coaches that I'm in touch with through masterminds and network groups. And they also said, hey, I want to be involved. How do I be involved? I'm like, well, we will start something. And of course, Life Coach University launched a pay it forward platform, which offers all these life coaches who have, by the way, have invested years, I would say years and years of, they've invested time, they've invested their energy, they've invested their love into crafting and honing their skill of life coaching on how to become a really amazing, brilliant life coaches. And so they are offering this 1 hour, and it's such a small ask, 1 hour a month with to share your content, to share your brilliance, to bring whatever it is that you want to bring and leave and gift to the world. And all we ask is that anyone who attends a pay it forward session pays it forward in any way that you want, either in kindness or a gesture, or if you want, you can make a donation back to Life Coach University. It's completely up to you. And the stories that I've heard about how people pay it forward, it just keeps like moving me and getting me so emotional that people who call me up and tell me their stories, like they're crying at the end of the phone, telling me how a young person built a fence for them. And when she said, hey, how much do I owe you? You just worked all day for me. And he said, oh no, that's my pay it forward. And by the way, that pay it forward came out from the Breakthrough Festival, which Megan, you were the host of that entire event. So I just want to thank you for that, because you really held the space. You were able to like bring all these coaches and hold that space of the Breakthrough Festival back in 2021 at the first birthday celebration for Life Coach University. You held that space for all these life coaches to share their golden nugget, to share their breakthroughs. And now it's having this lasting impact out in the world.
Oh my gosh, Dien, I'm crying. Full on. I know this because that's why I work for the Life Coach University. That's why I contribute, because I really believe in your vision about bringing life coaching to millions more. And, but yeah, it still doesn't Stop me getting emotional. Oh my gosh. But I cry all the time, so it's all fine.
I love that.
Yeah, look, thank you so much for sharing that because, and I think an aspect of this that I want to bring up too, and I'm really interested to hear your take on this, is that because I coach women on money, right? And it's interesting that me, a money coach, does like a lot of stuff for free. I do a lot of work for free. I mean, I produce this podcast every single week for free for years. And, all that content. And then everything that I do for the Life Coach University, supporting the other coaches coming through, it's all for free. And I absolutely love that. I love that aspect of it, but also I'm very much all about making money and, feeding my family. But this is like a beautiful way that I just feel is so in alignment with my values, what I want to see in the world. It's like, yes, I want to have a really successful business. And those people who feel really aligned to work with me, right? And they pay me the money to work with me. And of course they do because of all the value that I bring to my clients. But at the same time, like because I fill my own cup first and put value out in the world and get an exchange for that, I'm also able to contribute in ways that brings coaching to so many more people who, might not be in a position at the time to have a one-on-one coach. And so I really stand behind this whole pay it forward movement because it's coaches, I mean, quite literally, and Dien, you correct me if I'm wrong, but we have coaches nearly from every continent, right? At Life Coach University now.
Yeah. And we're getting coaches. We're attracting coaches by like the dozens. Right. So the very first pay it forward coach, Davina Johnson, for her, it was like a yes, like, Dan, I'll do this. I want to be involved. And then there was like another yes. And then there was you. And then there was another. And now it's like by the dozens. And so we've got, this powerhouse of life coaches, right? We're making a movement here. We've started a movement of generosity and kindness within the life coaching industry. And we are putting it out there saying, hey, 1 hour of your time as a life coach, watch out. Look at the impact that you can have in 1 hour. And I really want to just speak on, the whole monetizing and the value and what I always say to coaches who I coach who are like, but I need clients and I need paid clients. And I really coach them on, hey, free clients, like anyone that does anything for free for you is of value. Right. I know when I first started out years back as a life coach and getting practice clients, like I am so grateful to every single client who said yes. And yes, they didn't pay me at that time. But what they paid in their time. They showed up to every session. They showed up with their real life, with their real content. They shared. They gave me a huge gift, which now I can give back. So I feel like they have paid it forward to me, and now I get to pay it forward to the world. And so if we're ever struggling with like, hey, when am I going to get it? Know that you're already putting it out there, and the value is already there if we can look for it, if we can look into it and see what value is right there, what's already been available or what's being offered at that moment. And it might not be in terms of monetary value, but the value might be way more.
Oh my gosh. Yes, 100%. And also, Dien, I don't think it's an either or. I think that you can give from a place of generosity and really provide a lot of value and get paid really well for that. And I also think that you can give from a place of really high value and generosity, and yes, not necessarily get a monetary return in the moment. But I actually think it runs deeper than that. It's when you show up and really give from a place of generosity. Giving is receiving. Yeah. Like I give a lot, and I don't feel like, oh, I deserve the money because I give in that sense, like, because that's like coming from a place of lack. But I don't have any problem receiving money because I just feel like, of course, like, like I'm giving all the time. Like it's only normal that I would also be receiving. Like it's not a problem. And it's funny because it's the same action. You're taking the same action, but it's a different viewpoint, right? Like you can give from a place of, I'm giving because I want something in return, right? Or you can just, and it's a very different feeling. Like that's a scarcity, like that's coming from scarcity. It's very different than giving and just giving and not expecting anything in return. But you do get so much in return. I mean, every time I contribute to the Life Coach University, I feel great. Like I'm so excited. It's like, oh my gosh, I just helped people all over the world. I can get off as a call, like when we did the Breakthrough Festival. I mean, that was at 6 a.m. in the morning for me. And when we finished the festival, it was about 7:30 in the morning. My kids were just getting up. My partner was getting up. He was so excited he could finally put the coffee machine on. And I can walk out and just be like, wow, I just facilitated coaches from all around the world and provided, like hosted an event that supported people to receive coaching from all around the world. And you better believe that I walked through the rest of the day feeling like with my head held high, like there's that, I think that's, but I didn't do it to get that, right? Like I didn't do that to make myself feel good. It's just that when you do give in that way, you do just feel good. It fills you up. Yeah.
It really is. The gift of giving itself, right, is priceless.
Yeah. And it's very much also connected, Dien, to receiving. It's a loop, it's like the giving and receiving. And it's really interesting. If you're not open to receiving, I think that's an area to investigate too. Like, are you actually willing to give? Because it's really interesting, like to just look at, because we think, oh, no, I'm giving, I'm doing things, but then we don't accept when things come to us. And it's a really interesting area to explore, this whole giving and receiving. But maybe that's for another podcast episode. But let's just have a little bit of a talk about what are the benefits of coaching, Dien, because I want to address the questions that I've received from my listeners. Like, why would they get a coach? Like, what's the point?
So for me, and I really want to preface that a lot of my work is whenever I'm introducing a concept or coaching, I'm also thinking about it like, how would I explain this to a 7-year-old? How would I explain this to a classroom or a youth group of young children, right? And so in terms of life coaching and life, like being a life coach or getting a life coach, what I want to offer and invite everyone, even children, to consider is like, your days, your life is filled with experiences. And we say yes and we say no to certain experiences. And what we say yes to determines at that same time what we've just said no to. So the way I like to really say it is like, hey, you just said yes. What are you saying no to at the exact same time? And sometimes, Megan, like we say yes to certain things in our life out of habit out of pattern, out of fear, out of not being that aware. And so when that happens, we are also saying no to a bunch of other things at the exact same time. And these things happen by habit, by pattern. It's like, oh, I just didn't realize it. Well, because it wasn't brought to our awareness. And that's where life coaching and having a session, even just as short as a 10-minute life coaching session, 20 minutes, 1 hour, sometimes it could be a package of 6 months, or stay or get a training certified, right? Become a life coach yourself. That helps you determine and look at and make an assessment and evaluate, going, oh, this is what I'm saying yes to. I'm saying yes to these experiences in my life. I'm saying yes to this. And I've just said no to all these things at the exact same time. And sometimes when we do that evaluation and when we get coached and we start to see like, oh my gosh, I've said yes to all this, that brings out the awareness. That brings out the aha. And I've said this to all my clients. Sometimes ahas, they feel amazing. They feel great. They're like, wow, magical. And then there are some ahas that are super painful. I wasn't aware. I didn't know that I was doing this. I was making these decisions, that I chose this for myself. And so I always like to come back to like, hey, what are you saying yes to right now? And what did you just say no to? And when we can really identify that through coaching, a person leaves that coaching session reevaluating. Do I still want to say yes to this in my life? And it's fine if you do, but at least now you own that yes. And when you own that yes, you also own all the things that you've just said no to at the exact same time. And that's when I can say, hey, you've just take ownership. You've now take authority of your own life. You can stand for your life and all your decisions and everything that's going on for you.
Yeah, so amazing. And I'll give an example, actually. I was just coaching a client this week and we were exploring the topic of hard work. She's in a professional field. Both her parents are in the same professional field. It's very hard working. Her parents have always worked really hard. Excuse me. It's the medical profession, right? So there's constant learning new skills, upskilling, peer reviews, all these kind of things. And, she was exploring the idea of being able to work less, but she was thinking that that's not possible. Like if she wanted to make more money, she would need to work more, like work hard. And I just started asking her some questions and we started playing with the idea. Like I said, well, because I talk about thoughts being like sunglasses, like we're wearing these sunglasses and we just don't realize that we've got them on and we just see life through these sunglasses. And you know how you can get the tinted glasses and it looks like a little bit golden and beautiful. And then when you take them off, you're like, oh, the day just doesn't look as good, like that, or it looks worse, whatever. But I just started playing with her. I was like, your idea that you have to work hard to earn money is actually just a thought that you've been thinking and believing, right? And you've never examined it and you just believe it to be true, right? And you're just living your life through that belief. Like if you want to earn a lot of money, you got to work really, really hard. And that's her truth. And she was nodding and like, yes, yeah, that's exactly right. My parents work hard, like I work hard. And then I said, but what about people who only work a few days a week and they're also really wealthy and they have a lot of money? Like, how does that work? And it was almost like you could see the cogs like shifting in her brain. And she was like, what? Like it had just never occurred to her, right? Like that her truth, like she had been living through this thought, like it was a fact of life. Like, yes, actually you have to work very hard, right? You can't have a lot of money without working very hard. And then just that simple question, but what about people who only work a few days a week and they still earn plenty of money. How does that work? Because that's not that, right? Like, and it's sort of, so this is the kind of things that happen in coaching, that you blow your limitations out of the water, like things that you think that weren't possible. They're only not possible because you don't have that belief. You know, it's like that. What's that famous saying? Is it Henry Ford or something? If you believe you can, you can. If you believe you can't, you can't. It's exactly what we do, because we say things like, oh yeah, I'm just not that kind of person, or, you know, who am I? I couldn't possibly start a business, or, you know, I couldn't do that. And then we see life through that filter and then just live life through that filter. And it's not until somebody points it out to us, because it's so transparent to us, that we're like, whoa, I'd never considered that. Like and it's like, that's why it can be so life-changing, because suddenly you're like, you mean I could set my life up that I only work 3 days a week and still have plenty of money? Like those options start to become available. Like it's just, but they're not available to you when you're sitting in the belief that it's not available, and it's transparent to you. And I think that this is just why I encourage people so much, like, go and explore your thoughts, like get a coach, like have somebody work with you and expose you to limitations that you might be putting on yourself that you just are completely unaware of. And that's why you're not able to do whatever it is. Like you're not able to ask for that promotion, or you're not able to leave your job, or you're not able to lose that last 10 kilos or whatever, because it's just not in your mind frame of possibility. Like you haven't been exposed to the thoughts that create that's a true thing.
Yeah. I completely agree with you. And I love that, right? And that is the power of coaching, is how coaches, we're skilled, right? Like we've learned how to hear, how to listen, how to hold the space and not be attached. We're standing for your greatness, right? Like whoever I'm coaching, I'm standing for them, and I'm not attached. Like in terms of, I'm not personally like, ouch, you didn't do what we imagined for you, or, you know, and the thing is that all life coaches, when they ask powerful questions, the client starts to see the powerful answers. So the questions that we ask call in the answers. So when you start to see in your life things that you're not really happy with, sort of moderate, sort of like, it's probably because you're asking questions that bring that answer to the forefront. But when you start to learn, and this is where coaching is so powerful, because we can listen and re-listen to a lot of our sessions, and so we can hear the coaches asking again and again these powerful questions, and then we start to model that. We start to get influence. Like the clients I have coached now are coaching themselves. They ask themselves the powerful questions, and then their life starts to invite in powerful answers. And I know for myself, like I am always being coached, right? This is the power of this is the brilliance of being a life coach, is that I get access to really, really powerful life coaches. And so I'll book in a session, and Megan, my next day will change. Because there was a time where I worked every day, sometimes from 6 a.m. all the way up until about 11. When I said I was maxed out and fully booked, I was fully booked. I was a full-time mom, home educating, and working fully booked as a life coach, running groups, doing one-to-one, and running a business. And there was no way at that time that I thought, and this was 2 years ago, that I thought, how am I going to reduce this? I need to change my life. And it was one coaching session, 1 powerful coach made it possible. showed me that, hey, have you ever considered this? And that question blew me away. And the very next day, my schedule changed. That was my power move, that I'm going to reduce my load to 3 days a week. And now that is my regular life. I work 3 days, 4 days. I'm on a circus. I'm in the circus, having fun, walking high wires, right? My son's learning how to climb. Like he can climb up a tree with just his bare hands and bare feet. Right. I mean, we're learning juggling. I'm playing the violin. We are out there in the fields. And that is the life that I wanted. I wanted to be off grid and I wanted to make an impact. I wanted everyone in this world to be able to have access to life coaching.
Yes. Ah, such a beautiful thing. So good. So good. All right. So we'll tell everyone how to get access to the Life Coach University. But first, I think we'll wrap this up, Dien. And I usually ask my guests if you have any sort of ritual or practice around money that you would like to share with the listeners. And I think this is such a beautiful thing too, because we're talking about this pay it forward platform where we're working without the monetary reward directly, but I still believe that there is a monetary reward, even though it's not direct. But it just, yeah.
So my ritual, and this is with money and with towards my day, is I really sit with my future self. So it might be the future self of the end of the day or my future self of tomorrow. And I have like a frank conversation with her and go, hey, like, what do you want me to have completed by the end of this day? Right. Like, and I go to the day, I go to tomorrow. And I sort of like give myself a high five, like, hey, what a great day. Look at the power moves you've made. And you've made decisions, and I make decisions for that future self. And so my power move is like, how do I want to feel? What do I want to have achieved by tomorrow or in a few years? But usually that process of sitting with my future self is the ritual. And so when I think about it in terms of money, I think about like, what value do I want to leave? And I ask my future self that. And so my future self has said, hey, the value that you're going to leave today, Dien, is the youth education scholarship. So Life Coach University has a youth education scholarship for anyone between the ages of 16 to 25. Right? Talk about having a ritual and following through and going, hey, we can make an impact here. And we've got all these life coaches who want to give. And so why not structure it? Here we have this framework now. And this is really giving back to and setting the next generation up, paying it forward now for them later. So I hope that I've answered your question with that. Like, just if you can sit with yourself and ask your future self, or ask, hey, what's the one thing that's going to make the biggest impact? And I want to have it done by tomorrow. And that one thing that makes the biggest impact, I want to really preface that it doesn't have to be like a big bang. It doesn't have to be like, I've got to go and talk to 1,000 people, or I've got to do, it could be that my power move today is to make that phone call. My power move today is to ask. My power move today is to spend the entire day with my family. Whatever your power move is, go and do it and enjoy it. Right? And just love that you get to make that decision. Like, this is my one power move.
I love that so much. Oh my gosh. I'm going to have to introduce that power move language with my clients, Dien. That is so good. That is so good. Yeah. Okay. I feel like we could talk for a long time, so I'm going to wrap this up and just let everyone know, please. How can they? So basically, I'll mention a couple of things, and then you tell us all where it is. But no. I'll let you say it. Tell us about how do people get access to the Life Coach University? What will they find when they go to the Life Coach University website? What's waiting there for them? What's the benefit of going there? Tell us all the things.
Amazing. Okay, so go to www.lifecoachuniversity.com. And when you get there, you will see a long list of all the life coaching sessions available each month. And those are the pay it forward sessions by the pay it forward coaches. And those are the sessions that anyone in the world, globally, around the world, can access for free. And the only ask is that you pay it forward in some way, any way that you want. And if for some reason you couldn't attend and you missed out, like FOMO doesn't exist here. Fear of missing out, we've got you. So now there's a replay section. So go to the replay and just click and you will get access to all the sessions that have been going on since, from the start. And then for anyone between the ages of 16 to 25, if you are interested in the Youth Education Scholarship, go to lifecoachuniversity.com and there is a button there that says apply, like say yes to the Youth Education Scholarship. And if you are a life coach and you want to become one of the Pay It Forward life coaches here at Life Coach University, it's super easy. Every month we have a new round of applicants coming in. Book your time, get on that call, and we will get you set up. And then you're part of the family. You're part of this powerhouse that's giving to the world.
Yes. So happy to be part of this powerhouse. Dien, thank you so much for giving us your time today. I really appreciate you coming on, and I just really wanted everybody to know how they can access coaching for free, because I just really stand behind it, and I stand behind you and the Life Coach University, reaching millions more, making coaching available to everyone around the world. So thank you.
Thank you, Megan. Thank you so much. It's been an honor, and really it's been an honor to work with you so closely. That's been a pure joy.
You're welcome. Oh my gosh, everyone, go and check out the Life Coach University. Dien is a seriously powerful creator. She just puts the word out there to life coaches and says, hey guys, I'm doing this. And we all just say yes, because we know whatever Dien is doing, it's going to be amazing. And she brings it to the world. And it's just, she's an incredible creator. And I'm thrilled for you to have heard her today, because despite her being the founder of the Life Coach University, we don't see a lot of Dien out there. And so for you to hear her talking for this long is a real treat. So I'm so glad that you got to meet her. All right. If you are loving what you are learning on the Money Mindful podcast and you would like to work with me, yes, I would love to work with you too. I love helping women uncover and unblock their limiting beliefs around money, around success, around life, around everything. I think to have the money and success and the life that you really love and love yourself in it, it requires that you have a positive relationship with money, of course, but it also requires that you have a positive relationship with yourself. And this is a lot of the work that I do with my clients. So if you want a life that's designed by you, for you, a life doing what you love, making the money that you want to make, and loving yourself all the way through it, I can totally help you with that. I would love to help you with that. You can find out more by going to my website and booking a consultation. But I will say, I don't like putting the pressure on, but we're getting close to the end of the year and I'm nearly booked out. So if you do want to work with me, don't muck around. Just get on there and go book a consultation. Okay, I love ya. Until next time, have a beautiful week. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Money Mindful podcast. For more info, visit moneymindful.com.au. For future episodes, be sure to subscribe. And remember, the information in this podcast is of a general nature only and does not take into account your personal circumstances or goals. Please seek professional advice for your own financial needs. Remember to have fun along the way.